Well, truffles have been around for centuries, but recently more and more chefs are highlighting the truffle flavor in their foods.
This is a very difficult segment for us because everyone in the studio is really, really hungry this morning, and it smells delicious because food writer and chef Jenny Brule is in here to show us how you can fake a truffle flavor.
You can.
Now, Jenny, so if you don't know what truffles are, they are not a mushroom, actually. They are a fungus, but not a mushroom.
Right.
And they're super expensive, like $1,000 an ounce.
About $100 an ounce.
$100 an ounce.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And you need 1 to 2 ounces per person. So you know it's a big investment if you want to do it. There's a couple restaurants here in Asheville that will have truffle dinners. I know the Biltmore uses truffles, and Bolenberger uses truffles, sometimes real truffles.
But more often you see it as an oil, right? Because it's so expensive.
Right. You'll see it a lot on restaurant menus like truffle fries or truffle mashed potatoes or mac and cheese. And that almost all the time uses a truffle oil, which is a synthetic aroma. So this isn't really what I like to say is it'd be like saying I love grapes because I love grape soda. They don't taste the same, but they're both really yummy. So this is, truffle oil is delicious. It's not what truffles taste like.
Interesting.
This is a truffle salt that's made here in North Carolina, in Charlotte, and it's made with real truffles. Okay. So, and that's called Tosca truffles.
So what are we making here? What do you have here?
So this is going to be a pasta, and what it is I'm just cooking down 3 different kinds of mushrooms, cremini, plain white button, and portobello that I've chopped up.
Those are 3 pretty flavorful types, the cremini especially, right?
Yeah, well, I stayed away from shiitake because they're more pronounced. I did not use porcini because they have a stronger flavor. These are just a good complement to a truffle flavor. So they won't overwhelm it. And that's when you're using truffle, whether it's synthetic or real, you don't want to have any other strong flavors because it's a really pronounced flavor and people love it or hate it. I am addicted to it. My husband won't sit next to me when I'm eating it.
Really? He doesn't like it?
He can't smell it.
I don't even like mushrooms, and I love truffles. Oh, absolutely.
Well, that's interesting. It's super easy to do at home. Now, the one key thing with using any sort of truffle, real or not real, oil, butter, NC Truffles is another company that makes truffle butter, or truffle salt. It's always a finishing flavoring. So you don't cook with it. So like I wouldn't use this truffle oil to saute these mushrooms. I use just plain olive oil. And then once the dish is completely finished, then I'll add the truffle oil, the truffle salt, and if you have truffle cheese, it's always at the end.
And can you get all of these at local grocery stores, or do you have to go to a specialty store?
The oil you can get at a good grocery store. The salt is you have to do it online. If you just Google search Tosca truffle, or the butter NC truffles is .com.
Excellent. Yeah, and all a finishing product, and we're going to show you how to finish that coming up in our next hour. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Well, truffles have been around for centuries, but recently more and more chefs are highlighting the truffle flavor in their foods.
That's right. We're showing you a cheap and easy way to make the truffle flavor because we know that truffles themselves are extremely expensive. And here to show us that is Chef Burnt. Just kidding. That was her name back in culinary school. This is Chef Jenny Brule. Brule, of course, means burnt in French. So you got a lot of heckling.
I got a lot of ribbing for that. Yes, yeah.
This smells amazing.
Yes, this is really incredible, and not exactly a breakfast food, but I couldn't want it any more than I do right now. It smells great in here. You said that there's a big difference between things that actually have truffle in them and things that just have that aroma.
Right. Okay, so this is the truffle salt, Tosca truffle salt, made here in North Carolina. This is made with real truffle. That the salt is just
you can actually see it in there.
Yeah, real pieces of salt in it. Or truffle. So I want you both to smell this. Okay.
Oh yeah,
and
very strong.
It's very strong, but it doesn't really smell the way maybe a lot of people think of truffle. Now this is the truffle oil. This is a synthetic aroma and flavor. And that's what people are more used to.
Yeah, that smells like a more polished smell, like it's more refined. Whereas this, you smell that earthiness and that sort of fungus.
Earthiness, good
Yeah,
flavor.
I mean, you kind of get that feel when you smell that salt.
Yeah, it totally. I mean, it's a little bit funky. Just like cured meat. Yeah. It is. It totally is. But that's what we either love or hate about it. That's what I love about it. You love about it. Some people hate it. So I'm just going to add what I've put. So that's just the mushrooms that we started with, and a little bit of cream, a little bit of white wine, and shallot. I'm going to add in the pasta and give it a stir. Now, up to this point, there's been absolutely no salt added. No salt in the pasta cooking water, no salt in the mushrooms, and that's because I'm going to use truffle salt to finish. And like I said before, any kind of truffle product you use, whether it's an actual truffle that you're shaving over the pasta or your dish, or truffle oil or truffle salt, it's always at the end, because heat will dissipate the flavor and the smell.
But this is something you could do at home, right?
Absolutely, you can do this at home. Truffle, to impart the truffle flavor, is the easiest thing in the world, because you're just adding it at the end.
And you're actually mixing here what you've got a truffle aroma oil.
I am.
And real truffle salt. So it's going to be a truffly pasta, but you're not afraid of mixing those two, even though one's real and one's technically not.
And that's a great point, because a truffle purist would be horrified that I just did that.
Okay.
But I'm a realist, so I would love to use just fresh truffle products. But truffle oils do not have a long shelf life, so a real truffle oil is almost impossible to come by. So you kind of have to use the synthetic version.
Interesting. And I noticed that you've got real Parmigiano Reggiano here, which I appreciate very much as an Italian boy.
Oh, good, yeah. It's the expensive stuff, but you know what? It's so flavorful, you don't need a ton.
Well,
will you all try it?
We are going to try it, but unfortunately you won't be able to see us do that. We got to take a break. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. This is News 13 This Morning.